Forge shots will do anything but move on to Fabric. Forge runs like shit, so I use Fabric. Forge is the most unoptimized. How about Forge mod to Fabric? Fabric is objectively better perform. Alright, that fucking does it. I'm done. Hi there. I'm Lunar, and as you can currently see from me smashing the studio into bits because I couldn't handle the absolute buffoonery going on, for the end of our history through modded Minecraft series, we are going to do something very different. I took every Modloader out of the box, put it on the table, spanged it a few times, and run it through a couple of tests, using Visual VM to extract what Java was doing, and a combination of Afterburner and an FPS monitoring software to see exactly and precisely what mod loaders run the best and which one runs the worst. And hopefully I can finally get rid of those hordes of people in my comment section blindly typing that Fabric is better without even thinking. Well, most likely they won't even bother watching this video to the end. But you will, right? I know you're a good person. That's why I like you. No kids, I have not gone insane. Shut up. Now sit back, relax, and subscribe for more insane ramblings as I take you through one hell of a fucking roller coaster. Okay, so big, fair, red warning lights like wee woo. Okay, everybody's attention is here. This is not an in-depth look into how Forge, Fabric, and others handle its mods, alright? This is just purely what you as an end user would experience. I'm not gonna spew data at you like a madman and expect you to understand basic stuff like 1 + 1, right? No, I'm gonna give you a simple FPS value and simple timestamps. But before we start, maybe a good idea for you to think for yourself. You know, like the thing you're supposed to do, like unhook from Twitter and think for yourself for a second. Which mod loader will perform the best out of the box? Without any performance mods. No Optifine, which doesn't do anything either. No Studium, Rubidium, or Mybalsium, or whatever it is. Just Forge, Fabric, Quilt, Neoforged, and nothing else. Which one will perform best? I'll give you a second. Alright, time's up, bucko. Let me see what you got. Alright, well, keep watching and see if you're a smarty pants or someone who should reconsider going to primary school. So let's get started. First up, manual generation test. For this, we are going to be using each of the loaders' last major 1.20.4 update together with Minecraft as a baseline to see what's actually happening. So let's start off with Mojang's magnum opus, shall we? Going into spectator mode, flying off in one direction, and to see how well Vanilla's handling of generating new chunks is compared to modded clients. And if you don't know, most amounts of lag, specifically tick lag, but also FPS lag, usually comes from generating a new chunk. This is why a lot of servers pre-generate their world before playing on it, which you should always do, Jimmy. You really should. But doing this resulted into a maximum of 125 FPS and an average around 90. Nothing spectacular, but still playable considering I used to play XCOM 1 on a laptop with like 15 FPS and I thought it was amazing. Now to run the same test again with Forge resulted into a maximum FPS of, hold for a second, 1175 FPS. An average frame rate of 585 FPS. In fact, all the other mod loads had pretty similar values to within margin of error, meaning there was no real difference between them, which struck me as a little bit odd. I've run the test a few times and they seem to be averaging these frame rates rather consistently. And it's important to note here, before we continue, both Forge, Fabric, Quilt, Neoforged all have performance patches built in already. So they're gonna perform better than Minecraft regardless. It doesn't matter if you have Sodium or Optifine installed. These things will always run better than vanilla Minecraft because they already have performance patches built in. And again, we're not running any mods in here. That's not what we're testing here. We're just testing to see if it's actually slower out of the box and if people saying one is slower than the other is actually a thing that's true, which from the first test, it doesn't seem to be. But let's go off to test number 2. The next test is a simple world generation using Chunky. You can see all the variables and test parameters and all the mods used in the little description box with a nice little link to a Google spreadsheet. It has all the data you need, but let's move on for now. So, we're going to test how well the game generates the chunks using a mod, but also how well the garbage collection does its job. I'll do a video on garbage collector someday in the future, but it's just important to know that Java works this way, and it's important to know that it affects game performance in a really big way. So we are going to render out 1000 chunks in a radius around the player, with the same world for every single loader. Then measure the time it took from starting it to ending, and having that 1000 chunks in each direction loaded out. Rerunning these tests 3 times to get an average and then comparing the results. Well, I'll give you 5 seconds to rank it, right? Take the 4 mod loaders, rank them to whatever you think will be the first one. You're taking way too long, I'm just gonna start. Fabric was the slowest, with the average amount of time being 3 minutes and 7 seconds to render out a 1000 radius chunks around the player. Now next up is Neoforged, coming in third with 3 minutes and 5 seconds. And in second place, can I have some drums please? It's Quilt, with 3 minutes and 4 seconds, meaning Forge is the fastest on average in these tests. Take that, Forge haters. Now, does this mean Forge is actually the fastest and 85% of you are just wrong? Because lower number just means better, right? Come on, man. This is Cygnus MC, not Linus Tech Tips. We have brain cells in us, right? Look at these times, look how close they are, and all this should really tell you is in terms of real-life performance, it is as close as it can be. There is no difference between any of these loaders. They all perform as well. And monitoring Java Virtual Machine, it seems Forge and Quilt have a slightly tighter grip, but that could be 2 variations on their garbage collection. But the only thing I could really take away from those graphs was that the CPU usage never exceeded over 40% for any of them. I could unlock this in Chunky, but that's not the goal of the test right now. The goal of the test is see what it does with all the same parameters, and it just did the same thing 4 times. So there's no real difference, all right? That's the point I'm trying to make here. And for all of those doubting my findings, again, there's a link in the little description right there, so go ahead and go and look at that. What these tests, confirmed by people who have been in the modding scene for years, really have concluded is that there is no inherent benefit to any loader when it comes to performance. And maybe, just maybe, that was the case a few years ago, but it's 2024 and Forge now relies more on mixins, which is the same technology that gave Fabric such a perceived boost in performance. And come to think about it, why are we so obsessed with getting so many frames in Minecraft? What happened to like a nice 60 FPS? I mean, for Christ's sake, it's a block game. Why do you need 2000 FPS? So you can like trick shot someone with an arrow in Hypixel? And yeah, I get it. Lunar, we just want a playable experience. Yeah, well, everybody does. But you're playing on a game that isn't really optimized the way it should be. Running what is essentially an extension upon an extension, running mods on top of that. The issue that you are getting lower frames isn't Forge, it isn't Fabric, Quilt, or Neoforged. It is that Minecraft itself struggles to perform under certain conditions, especially if your PC is slower than the average CPU out there. But hey, if you really want, you can install this mod, doubling your performance. Well, it actually just shows you the double FPS, so you can feel like you're running well. Alright, bit of a sideshow. This was made by Paint Ninja, who helped me along with the tests a little bit. He also confirmed Forge's results. He really likes the hyperfixation on performance, just like I did. So currently it's April 1st. Haha, happy April Fools. He made this mod, and within 3 hours, he already got a comment asking for Forge 1.20.1. You gotta be kidding me, right? Like, this is a joke. Nobody takes this serious. Come on, man. So why make this video as a conclusion piece to the modded Minecraft series? Because in effect, all these mod loaders do the same thing. Because listen to me, all right? Just listen. It doesn't matter what mod loader you use. You want to use Forge? Go for Forge. You want to use Fabric? Use Fabric. Like, f it. If you wanted to use your Uncle Jimmy's dried up bones and ashes from beyond the grave so you can play the Jenna mod in 4K, fucking go for it, little Timmy. You do you. But stop saying that something is bad because you either don't understand how it works or it just doesn't work for your machine. But with that rambling outside the way, I'm gonna send this off to kids. I was Lunar, you were very awesome, and I'll see you in the next one. Also, stop asking for 1.20.1 updates. You're an idiot.